welcome back, trainers. So today we're just doing a little bit of review on basically max out type of events. So even Dynamax, Gigantamax, all that. So if you're gonna be doing anything involving max Pokemon, so this video is for you. Now this video we are covering what we've already covered, but we're gonna go and be a little more expansive on it. So for starters, make sure you guys check out the video right here. That's gonna basically be the essentials you'll need. We're gonna kind of breeze over it. So again, if you want a little more, it's a little more in depth. All right, so first things first. Max Pokemon, pretty straightforward on how this operates. You're gonna need to collect max particles to be able to go in and battle these Pokemon. On Dynamax battles, you'll be able to have a max of 4 players per battle, and in Gigantamax you'll have a max of 40. For Gigantamax you can have significantly more because again these are more powerful Pokemon, so they do require a lot more. While a Dynamax, it doesn't require as many. You can actually solo a lot of them, if not duo quite a few of them as well. So that's gonna be the big difference there. Now you're basically gonna have 3 different types of max Pokemon you're going to be utilizing when you're building your max teams, which we're going to go cover briefly. Again, review the video I showed earlier, and it'll explain a little bit more. But you're basically going to have an attacker, so a Pokemon that's their only purpose is just to deal damage. Then you're going to have tanks. Okay, and then which are going to be basically to absorb damage as much as possible and to minimize your team's destruction, basically. And then you have healers, which is going to be your max spirit Pokemon, which again, we're going to cover those moves in a second. And they're just basically going to heal your team. Okay, so those are going to be your 3. And you technically have generalists where they can kind of fill in where needed, but again, they're going to fill in a specific role. So again, it comes down to those 3 roles. Now, each of these things, you're going to want to make sure you have your teams built up. So I'll show a video here in a little bit of basically kind of going over team compositions and things like that, why it's important, right? So first things first, when you are taking on these D-Max Pokemon or these G-Max, make sure you have your particles collected from your max power spots. Now, when it comes down to it, when you're battling these Pokemon, it's really straightforward. Just use your fast move. There are some where, yeah, you can come in with a charge move because you got to be able to inflict a certain amount of damage to be able to charge more. Okay, so typically speaking, if you're dealing under 5% damage, okay, it's got to be under that, you're only just charging a little bit. Now, when you start going to that 5% and more than that even, you start charging your max gauge more. Now, why is this max gauge important, you might be wondering? The max gauge is what's going to turn your Pokemon into it's either Dynamax or Gigantamax form. Now, when they go into this form, they're going to use different moves. You're basically going to have up to a max of 3 moves, and they're going to be based on your, if it's a Dynamax at least, it's going to be based on its fast move. Now keep in mind, you can switch your Pokemon during this time. You do have time to do so. So again, if you're using a Pokemon to basically charge up the max meters, so then you can go into your tank or your healer or whatever, you can do that. And then you've got your switch right there. Now, when you're building this max gauge, you want to go and keep things in mind on when building it, using either a really, really fast attack, if that's available for your Pokemon. Use the fastest one possible. Unless the damage output from your fast move is significant, it can go toward that 5% of damage into that Pokemon, right? You're just basically want to stick with the fastest move possible. So for an example here, the most classic example we see is the Charizard, right? That's a Pokemon that's got access to Fire Spin, Wing Attack, Air Slash, and Dragon Breath. Now, Dragon Breath is a 1-turn move, so every half a second it hits. So you're able to rapid fire that thing. Now, 9 times out of 10, your Fire Spin, your Wing Attack, all that, it's not going to do over 5%. So there's really no need to go with anything outside of Dragon Breath on your Charizard. If you're going into a tier 1, different story. Fire Spin is probably going to go and do more than 5% every hit, so it's going to make sense. So again, just kind of pick your battles on this, what's going to be usable and all that. So now we've kind of covered little basics on how these max moves are going to work, right? Just the basic stuff. So it goes into the max attack, which is going to be the basic one. You can pump these up to 3 times, either be G max or if it just be D max, you can pump them up to 3 times. This is something you really want to notate, because you're going to use particles for that and candies. All right, now that's regardless max attack or not. You have 3 moves. I did mention that earlier. And you're going to also have access to max guard, which is going to be your tanking move, which, let me break this down real quick. This has got 2 uses here. This puts on shields, okay, and is strictly based on your Pokemon's defense. And then on top of that, it also draws the attention of that attacker, or the Pokemon that you're battling, the big boss monster, right? You've got access to the Max Spirit. Max Spirit's another good one that also heals. That's based on your Pokemon's HP. Now, with that, so we have stats that are going into each of these things. Your max attack should be straightforward at this point. It is your Pokemon's attack that's going to be going into that. So that's where you're getting your damage output. So now you know where your stats fall. You know what these max moves are. Now you're going to have to unlock Guard and Spirit regardless. There's not a Pokemon that comes with it. So keep that in mind when you first get your max Pokemon. If it is a Pokemon you're going to be using as a tank, for instance, against this Gigantamax Rillaboom, that's going to be out, or that's technically out if you remote it over in Osaka right now. Charizard, fantastic tank and fantastic attacker on Rillaboom. Okay, so you're going to be able to make up your mind on basically which role you want to fill for that. If you got your G-Max Charizards, even if you have a Dynamax Charizard, you still have roles to fill with that. So again, kind of pick your battles, kind of figure out what you want to do, organize with your group that you're going to be doing this with. If you can't, again, these are pretty straightforward. It's just pure grass, so you'll be able to just chomp away at it and resist and all this. But you want to pay attention to your Pokemon's typing for this as well when you're tanking. To give an example of this goes right back into gym offense, gym defense, rating, all this. Your typing matters greatly for this. So when you're going into, let's say, a Gigantamax Charizard max battle, you're probably not going to want to bring a Metagross. It's just, be safe, because again, it's weak to fire. So if that Gigantamax Charizard is hitting with, let's say, it's Blast Burn, that's going to knock it out. It doesn't make a difference if it has 3 shields or not. It's probably just going to knock it out instantly. So things to consider. Now, we got to really talk into the battle, really what's going to matter. Now, you're going to see at times when basically on the right side, the very bottom, you're going to see 2 different options. They're going to go and fly at you. Either it's going to be that max Pokemon is using a large attack, which hits everybody, or it's going to use a singled out attack, one that targets you directly. Now, the ones that target you directly, here's the great thing about it, you can dodge them. Large attacks, you can't. Now, large attacks largely will go and they're going to be weakened because they hit everything, so they're just going to be weakened. They're not going to be at like the full strength. It's not going to be boosted really. It's just going to kind of hit. It might knock your Pokemon out still. So make sure you know your typing. You have that really taken care of. Now, if they hit you with a singled out attack, it is targeting you. Then you are going to have these 3 yellow lines. It's going to be sitting up there like this. Okay. When it is yellow, you can dodge. So make sure you are going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until all of those lines go away. What this is going to do, this is going to cut the damage down significantly. Now, there's going to be a few exceptions to this. If your Pokemon's weak to it, it probably won't matter too much, but again, it still can, okay? I've seen Rillaboom's tank Ice Beams, I'll put it that way. So, make sure you guys are getting those dodges in. They're going to be very, very important. Now, next thing I want to mention is I did talk about charge moves earlier. In max battles, typically speaking, you will not use any charge moves, okay? They are absolutely pointless because, now, I've done a bit of extensive research on this one, and statistically speaking, if you use your charge move, the opposing Pokemon is likely to use a large attack. If they don't use a large attack, they can still go and use their singled out attack, but it will increase the odds of it coming in. it'll increase the frequency. So again, don't use your chargers. Again, just be very, very cautious and pay attention to what the opponent is doing at all times. When you're going to these events, community ambassador-led events, so this is where this is going to be the big thing. They're almost always going to have a timed research, okay? So you'll have one the game gives you, but then the community ambassador event will also have one where you're getting more max particles. Those are loose particles. Now I want to go and really, really reiterate this. There's a difference between your daily limit, which is 800 technically, but you also have a storage currently right now at 1500. You can go over that storage, okay, by a significant margin, but you can only collect, technically speaking, 800 a day. If you do it right, you're collecting about 1,040, I think it is, or 1,080 a day. There's other ways to go over that. Again, there are, but typically that's what you're going to be running around. So that being said, you can get quite a bit of particles a day, and it takes roughly about 2 days to fill it. And that's if you're just going off your daily. Now, okay, this is the big if you are going to be using loose particles, they don't count towards your daily limit at all. These are going to be particles you can hold on to. And again, anytime there is a timed research for, let's say, like for instance, with these legendary Pokemon they drop for maxes, they'll usually drop it a week before they officially drop. And then what they do is you'll be able to complete all these tasks. Hold on to those every time. And the reason I say that is you can use them on those days. If you can't make it to those days, I highly suggest do what you can, get yourself some remote passes, try and do them still. They're absolutely, they're huge in comparison to regular Pokemon. So stat-wise, it's going to be really helpful to have them if you don't have any Gigantamax. Or a Pokemon of a specific type you need for that type of max battle. All right, now, again, you are going to need max particles to pretty much do anything when it comes to max battles, including boosting your own Pokemon up. Now, boosting the CP is one thing, but boosting the max attack and guard and spirit is another. You use candies for both, but you use Stardust for CP and for the max damage, right? Or the capabilities of the max guard or max spirit are going to be solely on your max particles. All right, so, but make sure either way, this is a good opportunity to go and the reasoning why you're going to want to leave Pokemon at your power spots after you defeat the Pokemon. Because those Pokemon, you can collect up to 5 candies per Pokemon, per power spot for every Pokemon you're leaving there, right? You can only leave 1 Pokemon there. So again, there's 5 candies. It's a good opportunity so you can go farm up candies for legendary Pokemon and that you've got that are max, so you can leave there, or for Pokemon you're building currently. The other suggestion while building these things, walk them, okay? Especially if you need those XL candies, absolutely worth it, okay? Other than that, that's all there really is to max battles. So if you have any other questions, again, leave them down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like and smash the subscribe so that way you are getting those notifications, and of course hit the notification bell as well to ensure that you're getting those notifications when new content is released. So thank you guys, and I will see you guys in the next one.